Hi guys, today's video is going to be a little bit different one. This is more of a story time type video that I wanted to make for the longest time, but I really didn't have any way to do this until now. So what I decided to do is I just added my gameplay from Forza Horizon 5 on the background, some music, and I'm just going to basically explain myself. Today's video topic is going to be how can one find his passion? How does it all work and how does it happen? And if there is luck involved on that or not. And you're gonna hear my story here. But I hope if you are kind of lacking passion to do anything, I basically kind of know that you haven't just found your passion or haven't found your passion yet. And you will find it if you just keep doing stuff, and I'm gonna explain how that can happen. So if you are just a random guy doom scrolling YouTube and happen to come across my video, I am a music producer, hobbyist. I produce hardcore music, and that's the thing I love to do, and I can't stop doing it no matter what I do, and I guess that's my passion. And how did we come to this point is pretty interesting. It all started when I was a little kid, let's say 14, 15, maybe 14 years old or something like that. And I got my hands on FL Studio, and if you happen to have no idea what that is, it's a digital audio workstation. It basically means that you can produce music in that software, and it means you can produce any music you want if you just have the skills. You can do literally anything in that software, or any other digital audio workstation, or DAW as they are called. So I knew what the software was when I got it from my friend, but I had no idea how to use it. The idea of creating your own music, it just sounded so interesting to me that I, from all the people, could create my own music. But as it happens, I opened up the software for the first time and it was literally just a blank canvas. I had no clue what to do or where to even start. And for some weird reason, I really didn't realize that there might be some tutorials on the internet about the topic. I know it sounds crazy saying that out loud today, but I really didn't have any idea where to start. So I didn't even necessarily watch tutorials. So what I started to do is I just basically started to press buttons and do things and see what would really happen. And I think that was part of the story of mine which led me to this position where I am today. And let's talk about that a little bit because that's kind of important for this story. So what I try to do today is I try to teach other people how to produce music, and I try to find unique ways of doing this, and I try to find ways that are so easy that anybody with little knowledge about music production can understand or can do them. And that usually means that my ways of doing things might be touch different than somebody else's, obviously. And this has everything to do, I think at least, with that I started using the music production software without watching tutorials. First of all, I just literally started to mess around pressing buttons. I can't really call the exact timeline because it's easily over 10 years ago when this happened. But at some point I kinda realized that there might be some tutorials on the internet about how to make music, and oh boy, that was a gold mine for me. So I wanna shout out some other YouTubers here that kinda deserve all the respect from me. And first YouTuber that comes to mind is a YouTuber called Seamless R, and the R is silent. This guy is a FL Studio wizard, like literally. Look him up. He's literally a wizard. I love the guy. Never been in touch with him, I think, but I've literally watched almost all of his YouTube videos about production, and this guy was so good that it was always kinda mind-blowing. He was always coming up with something new that and I guess lots of other people as well really haven't seen before done. And it was so cool because it was kind of beginning of the dubstep thing, the modern dubstep, which kind of sucks, but you know, whatever. And all the nasty bass sounds and stuff like that. And this guy, Seamless R, was super good at this stuff specifically. And he basically only used stock FL Studio plugins, which means that anybody could do the sound design we all wanted to do with stock plugins, which was also super mind-blowing because you didn't need any more expensive plugins that you kinda already had if you had FL Studio. And watching those videos and learning insane amount of techniques that could be transferred to multiple different use cases kinda led me here where I am today. But let's move back into the passion thing and how you can find it, because I hope you can hear from my voice that I am really excited to talk about this stuff for you guys, and I hope you are excited to listen to it as well. But if you are not, that's also cool. I just like to talk about music production. I started to watch those tutorials and I quickly realized that I was again hooked. And I was completely hooked to music production, the whole concept of it, the whole community and stuff like that. So obviously when I watched tutorials, I started to recreate the tutorials I watched. And I did that for many years. And kinda at some point when you do stuff enough, you can start to figure out your own ways of doing stuff. And here we come back to the beginning, where I started to use FL Studio kinda with no clue what to do or where to go basically. And now I kinda knew what this software was capable of. And I kinda have seen the things you can do with the stock plugins from Seamless and from some other YouTubers, but mainly Seamless R. Then I started to think about, like, if I had a problem I wanted to solve, what I started to do is I immediately avoided going to YouTube or internet and search for solution. First, what I wanted to try is, can I solve this problem myself without any searching or googling or watching tutorials? And when I was able to solve the problem by myself, and then I googled how to solve the problem, I sometimes realized that the kinda real solution was actually pretty bad and clunky, and the solution I came up with myself with little to no knowledge was much better, in my opinion at least. And that was very interesting to me, and I kind of thought, like, I'm doing it wrong because this guy on the internet says that you need to do it like that. So I eventually came back to the so-called real way of doing that thing and kind of left my own way to be like, let's throw that into the trash bin. And this happened multiple times when using FL. It happens still to this day. But after I did that for a while, I kind of realized that why wouldn't I be able to use the own way I created to solve the problem? And I kind of got confidence at some point to do it myself, and then I started to share what I learned. And usually my ways, they are my ways, because I really try to avoid watching tutorials today. I do watch them sometimes still, to kind of get updated on stuff, what is happening, and stay in touch. But when I create tutorials, I try to do everything by myself and use my own ways of doing things. or doing things, and I've gotten some feedback about that, and most of the feedback is kind of wondering like, am I doing it wrong? And now that I get those comments that say that I'm doing something wrong, it's super funny to me because I can kind of realize that, hey, this guy is at the same point in the music production journey that I was at some point, and I kind of see through it, and it throws a smile on my face every time I get a comment like, you are doing it wrong, if I kind of am not doing it wrong. Like, if it sounds good, it sounds good, okay? And that's where I kind of started to get more confidence about the whole thing. And you can see this whole journey I've talked about, it all began in the beginning of me trying to figure out FL Studio myself without having no idea what that is. And that's something that has kind of sticked with me the whole time, even today. And this is super cool about life overall, because small things have huge consequences in the end. And that one day that I opened FL Studio was the day I got hooked in FL and found my passion. Still to this day, there is nothing that is kind of beaten this passion for me. And it's also pretty cool to have some sort of a purpose in your life. And I hope and think this is my purpose, because this is something that I just generally like to do so much. Some other things that I've tried, not that much. But how could you find your passion is something that I think everybody should ask themselves, because when you find your purpose, the thing you like to do, it really solves many problems on your life. It solves problems that might not exist, you think. Like, if you are spending a lot of time kind of doing nothing, watching Netflix or whatever, in my opinion, it's kind of wasted time. And I would say or think you might want to do something else with that time if you can. But obviously you need to get time to relax and stuff like that. I completely understand it. But please ask from yourself, do you have a real passion in your life, and what's your purpose in your life? It doesn't need to be a big thing, just like mine. I'm just using literally FL Studio, making videos and music. That's my thing. I literally, at the moment, really don't pay my own bills with this stuff. I just generally like to do it, and maybe hope someday I will be able to sustain myself with this. But I think this is all about kind of passion and wanting to do it, no matter what, and no matter who says what to anybody about your stuff. It doesn't matter. So if you generally feel like you are not trying out new things, I would highly recommend that, because if I, for example, let's think that I got a video editing software instead of FL Studio when I was a little teenager kid, and let's say I didn't like video editing. It might be like, okay, I don't like video editing, what else? And then I go to the next thing, which might not be DAW or something like that. I don't like that. And I will try new stuff, and eventually I think I might came across FL Studio eventually, but I was kind of lucky to get across that so soon. And I want to emphasize that I had no plans before that to start producing music. It was literally like a snap decision to hear like, you can make your own music, what, that's so cool, I want to make my own music. And there it all started. So what would be something for you that could be your passion? Really think like, what type of things have you really tried? And did you like them? Did you not? And if there is something that you liked even a little bit, please go a touch further with that and try it out some more time and see if it's really your thing. And if it's not, don't force yourself to do it. Like, there is no need to do that. Just move on to next thing. Because the most special thing in life, in my opinion, or let's say one of the most special things, is to find something you actually like to do. It doesn't need to pay the bills, it just needs to be something you are passionate about and you would like to talk about all day. Like, I would like to talk about FL Studio all day, but I think there is not enough people that would like to listen to that all day, so I'm just trying to contain myself here. Some other thing to consider is unrealistic expectation in the modern world. All of the Instagram pages, YouTube pages you follow most of the time post only the best moments ever about whatever somebody is doing. If you are into cars like I am, you can see the car community. They post like the most insane builds, like, I don't know, 1000 horsepower Supras and 2000 horsepower drag race cars and whatever, or some really ridiculous RX-8 or RX-7 with 4 rotors and 6 turbos. It's going insane, and that's not really, let's say, realistic for most of the people. That's for the content. They're doing it for the content, and if you are comparing yourself to them, if you're comparing yourself to the best guy, you'll get lost pretty soon, because no matter what you do, there will always be somebody who is better than you. For example, I can use myself here as an example, like my YouTube channel. Yeah, I do my content, there are lots of other people that do similar content, and I always like to call them out, like On Point Samples, for example, is a great channel, General Geibel is a great channel, and there are a lot of other great YouTube channels that teach you hardcore music production and FL Studio in general. And I'm not comparing myself to them, really. I'm just doing my own thing, like I'm doing here at the moment. I don't care. My brother and I had a conversation recently about YouTube, and I really wasn't releasing any YouTube content. I was only doing the teaching stuff wherever I do that, because I don't wanna commercialize this video too much, because this is just a talking video. You can find it out in the description if you really want to, but don't care about that for now. We were talking about my YouTube channel, and what I did is I always had to have some super unique and interesting and cool idea for me to release a video. And it gets pretty heavy really soon, and you'll get out of ideas. And I got into a problem. It's kind of like a writer's block of content creation, I think, where I will start a video idea and I will think that this is super good and super valuable information, and most likely it was. But I started to create the video, editing it a couple of days, and then I soon kinda looked at it and I was like, this sucks. This is not that good. I can't release this. I can't do it because there is some small thing that I don't like about it, and I can't find a way to fix it. Even though the video was overall super good for my standards, and I will kind of want to share it, but there is a couple of things that I don't like, and most of the times that video goes to trash bin. And this is something to do with that you are comparing yourself to other people that are always doing it better. Like I said, there is always somebody that is doing it better than you. But if you let that stop yourself from doing something, you'll get nowhere never. It's super important to just start to do your own thing. So my brother and I were discussing about the problem I told you earlier, and my brother told me that you just need to do YouTube. Do YouTube stuff. I was like, YouTube stuff? Yeah. And he said like, just be a YouTuber. I was like, just be a YouTuber, huh? And now what you see here is the exact result of that. And my last 2 or maybe 2 videos are also a result of that. I just pick a topic and I start to do it, because I know how to do it. I've been doing this for many years. That's not the problem, really. It's that my standards are unrealistic, or they were unrealistic, and it's not good for me, or it's not good for the content, because there is no content if I don't release it. So it's kind of same with music. For example, there is always somebody that likes your music. Even though if you release a track you don't really like, there is always somebody that likes it. I think deadmau5 actually gave a great example about this. He had the track called Strobe, I think. And I've seen some clips and interviews about deadmau5, and deadmau5 says that he doesn't like the Strobe track, and he almost threw it into the trash bin. But I think it was his manager or some of his friends that kind of forced him to release the track in a point where there was not anything else to release or something like that. He released it, and I think it's his best track ever, or one of the best tracks he ever released. And by best I mean success, popularity and stuff like that. So it just shows you that even though you have huge amount of experience in something like deadmau5 has in music, you still might think something is bad and actually it's going to be a hit. So just do your thing. Don't compare yourself to others. But there is also other side of the coin, so to speak, about this. It's also good to compare yourself to others in a healthy way. Like, look what's up on your knees. Like, there are a lot of little communities in every genre of anything, like gaming or whatever. And just look what's up. What are they doing? And if there's something that you are passionate about, you can fill a niche, so to speak, and start to do that. And if there's something popular where a lot of content creators are actually already doing stuff, start to do it, and eventually you'll find your own way to add to that. And that is kind of a great example of trying to find your passion, your thing you want to do. And my point of view about passion is that you would want to share it with others. Like if it's a hobby, like some sport or something like that, you might have a team of people that all like to do the same thing, and you will share the passion and enjoyment with those people. And for content creators, it's obviously social media, YouTube and stuff like that, or live streaming.